Imagine a world so violent that it could be mistaken for the very image of hell itself. A place where fiery mountains erupt with rivers of molten rock, where sulfurous plumes rise hundreds of kilometers into the sky, and where the ground beneath your feet never stops shifting. But this nightmare isn't part of mythology or a scene from a science fiction movie. It's real, and it's out there in our solar system, locked in orbit around the largest and most powerful planet we know, Jupiter. This tortured world is called Io, and it's unlike anything else we've ever seen. While Earth boasts volcanoes that impress us with their destructive force, Io makes them look like harmless campfires. It is the most volcanically active place in the entire solar system. Its surface reshaped every single day by violent eruptions. But here's the real mystery. Why does this moon, just a little bigger than Earth's own, behave like such a raging inferno, while its neighbors remain calm? The answer lies in the grip of a planet so massive it could swallow all the other planets put together. Jupiter's gravity has created a world that pushes the limits of what we thought a moon could be. And to understand why Io looks and behaves the way it does, we have to dive into the story of its place in the solar system, its strange history, and the brutal cosmic forces that keep it alive in fire. To understand Io, you first have to understand the titan that dominates its life, Jupiter. Sitting nearly 750 million kilometers away from Earth, Jupiter is the godfather of worlds. It's the oldest and largest planet in the solar system, so massive that it outweighs all the other planets combined by more than 2 times. If you tried to fit Earth inside it, you could do so over 1,000 times and still have room to spare. That size gives Jupiter a kind of gravitational authority that stretches across the entire solar system. The arrangement of the rocky planets, the scattering of asteroids, even the shape of the outer debris belts, they all carry the fingerprints of Jupiter's influence. And nowhere is that influence clearer than in the massive family of moons trapped in its orbit. Astronomers have counted 79 moons around Jupiter so far, more than any other planet we know. But only 4 of them stand out as giants in their own right: Ganymede, Europa, Callisto, and Io. These are the Galilean moons, first spotted by Galileo Galilei in 1610, and they completely rewrote our place in the cosmos. By watching these moons orbit Jupiter, Galileo realized Earth wasn't the center of everything. The planets, like the moons, moved in circles around the sun, a discovery that forever changed science and religion. And of all these moons, one became infamous. While Europa teased scientists with its hidden oceans, and Ganymede boasted the title of the largest moon in the solar system, Io earned a reputation as the most dangerous. Under Jupiter's crushing pull, Io became a world on fire, a restless sphere where mountains rise, surfaces crack, and volcanoes never stop erupting. Io's story doesn't just belong to science, it's rooted in myth. When Galileo first spotted it in January of 1610, he didn't yet realize he was looking at one of the most extreme worlds in existence. At the time, he simply called it Jupiter 1, one of 4 new moons orbiting the giant planet. But as more moons were discovered, the numbering system quickly became confusing, so astronomers turned to mythology for names. The moon was christened Io after a figure from Greek mythology. For centuries, Io was just a speck of light orbiting Jupiter, mysterious, distant, and unreachable. That changed in the late 20th century, when humanity began sending robotic explorers into the outer solar system. The first real glimpse came in 1973 and 1974, when NASA's Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 spacecraft flew past Jupiter. The images were blurry, low-resolution snapshots, but even then, Io stood out. Unlike other moons that looked cratered and ancient, Io's surface appeared strangely smooth, as though it had been freshly painted. Something unusual was happening there. Then, in 1979, everything changed. NASA's Voyager 1 spacecraft swept past Io, capturing thousands of detailed images. What scientists saw stunned them. Massive volcanic eruptions blasting plumes of sulfur, hundreds of kilometers into space, fiery lava lakes glowing like open wounds, and mountains taller than Everest rising from a tortured landscape. This was the first time humans had witnessed active volcanoes anywhere beyond Earth. Until that moment, we thought Earth was unique, a geologically restless world surrounded by silent, frozen moons. But Io shattered that assumption in an instant. Voyager's images revealed that Io wasn't just active, it was the most volcanically active body in the solar system. Its surface was painted in bright yellows, oranges, and reds from sulfur compounds, making it look like a world dipped in fire and brimstone. Carl Sagan famously described it as a landscape more bizarre than any science fiction had dared to imagine. From that point forward, Io became a place of obsession for scientists. It was no longer just one of Jupiter's many moons. It was a living world, alive with fire, constantly reshaping itself before our eyes. If Earth is a paradise, Io is its infernal opposite. Imagine standing on its surface. The ground beneath your feet would be cracked, unstable, and scorching hot. Gigantic plumes of sulfur and dust would erupt in the distance, some shooting higher than Mount Everest itself. The air, if you could call it that, would be a toxic haze of sulfur dioxide, far too poisonous for human lungs. Temperatures on Io swing violently. Near volcanic vents, lava flows glow at more than 1,500 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt steel. But just a few kilometers away, the icy ground can drop to below minus 140 degrees Celsius. It's a world of extremes, where fire and frost battle endlessly. Then there's the radiation. Io orbits deep inside Jupiter's powerful magnetic field, a region that traps deadly charged particles. Any unprotected human would be bombarded with lethal radiation doses in mere hours, enough to destroy the body from the inside out. Even our robotic probes struggle to survive long in this environment, their electronics fried by the relentless storm of radiation. And yet, despite the hostility, Io is breathtakingly beautiful. From orbit, it looks like a canvas splashed with vivid yellows, reds, oranges, and blacks colors painted by volcanic sulfur and silicate rocks. The landscape is alive with motion, mountains collapsing, lava lakes boiling, and eruptions reshaping the surface in real time. Unlike Earth's slow geology, which unfolds over millions of years, Io changes in weeks, or even days. Scientists often describe it as hell frozen over, a place both terrifying and mesmerizing. It's a reminder that not all worlds follow Earth's rules. Some, like Io, exist in states so violent and alien that they stretch our imagination of what a planet or moon can be. So what makes Io the most volcanic place in the entire solar system? The answer lies in a violent tug-of-war between gravity, motion, and heat. Io is locked in a dangerous dance with its neighbors. It doesn't orbit Jupiter alone. Europa and Ganymede, two of Jupiter's other massive moons, pull on it with their own gravity. These moons are locked into what's called a gravitational resonance. Every time Ganymede completes one orbit, Europa completes two, and Io completes four. This constant rhythm means Io is never allowed to settle into a calm, circular orbit. Instead, it's forced into a stretched, slightly oval path around Jupiter. And here's where the real destruction begins. As Io swings closer to Jupiter, the gas giant's immense gravity stretches and squeezes it like clay. Then, when Io moves farther away, that tension relaxes. This endless flexing, called tidal heating, creates friction inside Io's rocky interior, generating unimaginable amounts of heat. The result? A world that is literally boiling from the inside out. Unlike Earth, where volcanoes are powered by slow, radioactive decay deep in the mantle, Io's volcanic fury is supercharged by these tidal forces. That's why its eruptions are more explosive, its lava lakes larger, and its mountains higher than anything on Earth. Some plumes blast material hundreds of kilometers into space, so tall they could cover the distance from New York City to Boston. Even the composition of the lava is strange. Studies suggest that Io's lava might be hotter than anything seen on Earth for billions of years. dating back to when our own planet was young and violent. In other words, Io could be showing us what Earth looked like in its fiery infancy. And the cycle never ends. As long as Io remains trapped in this cosmic wrestling match with Jupiter, Europa, and Ganymede, the moon will stay restless, its surface constantly reshaped by fire and ash. It's not just a moon, it's a natural laboratory of chaos, teaching us how gravity itself can sculpt worlds. For decades after Voyager's discoveries in 1979, scientists could only dream of returning to Io with more advanced spacecraft. And while Jupiter has been visited many times since, Io's hellish environment has made it one of the most difficult places to study up close. In the 1990s, NASA's Galileo spacecraft gave us another breathtaking view. Between 1995 and 2003, Galileo orbited Jupiter and captured detailed images of Io's eruptions in real time. Giant plumes rising and falling, new lava flows spreading across the surface, mountains toppling into molten seas. For the first time, we watched an alien world transform before our very eyes. Fast forward to 2007, when the New Horizons spacecraft, on its way to Pluto, made a brief flyby of Jupiter. In just a few hours, it snapped incredible shots of Io's glowing volcanoes, proof that the moon's fury had not slowed down. Even decades later, Io remained as violent and unpredictable as ever. Now, scientists are preparing for the future. NASA's Juno mission, which has been orbiting Jupiter since 2016, recently began close flybys of Io, diving deeper into its mysteries than ever before. Each pass reveals new details about its magnetic field, volcanic plumes, and how its fiery activity interacts with Jupiter's vast magnetosphere. And the excitement doesn't stop there. NASA's Europa Clipper, launching in 2024, will focus on Europa, but it will still collect precious data about Io along the way. Meanwhile, the European Space Agency's JUICE mission, short for Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, launched in 2023 and will also keep an eye on Io as it studies Jupiter's other moons. There are even bold proposals for dedicated Io missions. Concepts like the Io Volcano Observer have been suggested spacecraft that could orbit Io directly and watch its eruptions unfold in real time. Imagine standing witness, through robotic eyes, as lava lakes boil and new mountains rise from chaos. The speculation goes even further. Could Io's constant volcanic activity help us understand how planets form, how early Earth looked, or even how life might survive in extreme environments? While Io itself is too toxic and unstable for life as we know it, studying it could give us clues about other worlds, perhaps even exoplanets orbiting faraway stars, locked in the same kind of tidal struggles. Io is more than just a moon. It's a cosmic reminder of how violent, unpredictable, and creative the universe can be. For centuries, it was only a faint point of light orbiting Jupiter. But once the spacecraft of the 1970s and 1990s revealed its fiery secrets, Io transformed from a speck into one of the most fascinating worlds ever discovered. Its legacy is not just about the volcanoes, though those alone are enough to make it legendary. Io challenges the way we see planetary science itself. Before Voyager's flyby in 1979, most scientists believed moons were dead, frozen relics of the solar system's past. Then Io shattered that belief in a single moment, proving that even small worlds could be alive, dynamic, and endlessly violent. Io has also become a symbol of extremes. It shows us what happens when gravity pushes a world to its limits, when tidal forces twist and tear a moon into a volcanic furnace. It has taught us that worlds are not static. They are constantly evolving, breaking, and rebuilding themselves in ways that stretch the imagination. And yet, Io is not just about destruction. Its volcanic activity recycles the moon's surface again and again, creating an endless cycle of renewal. In a strange way, it mirrors the story of creation and chaos across the cosmos. Out of fire and violence comes rebirth and change. The future promises even more. As Juno continues its daring flybys, And as missions like Europa Clipper and JUICE bring back more data, Io will reveal more of its secrets. And if one day, a dedicated Io mission finally launches, humanity may get a front-row seat to the most explosive show in the solar system. In the end, Io's legacy is this. It reminds us that the universe is far stranger than we ever dared to imagine. A world of fire, ash, and radiation, orbiting a giant planet, caught in an endless gravitational dance. It is both terrifying and awe-inspiring. And it leaves us with one haunting question. If a small moon around Jupiter can hold such chaos, what unimaginable worlds might be waiting for us beyond?